What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and today I want to do a rant a little bit more on the business side of things and kind of go into the speculation that I've seen being passed around, which is the fact that the PlayStation 4 at the end of this console generation could very well be the best-selling console ever. Now that seems a little bit dramatic, but strangely, it is already entering those ranks. At this point, it is, I think, the 6th best-selling console that's ever been released. The first place is, of course, the PlayStation 2, which has sold 156 million units. But that was a special case because at the time, when it originally came out, it was the cheapest DVD player on the planet. If you wanted to try and find any way to have this new style of video, you had to buy a PlayStation. So this, in a way, was an early entry point to a lot of people who end up going on to become hardcore gamers. It was sort of a way of trying to introduce people, especially in Japan, to console gaming that otherwise they may have missed. This is closely followed by the PS1, which sold 103 million units. Now this is another one that I feel like sold well because it was different. At this time, there were definitely consoles that were able to do good graphics, especially stuff like the 3D rendering of the Nintendo 64 and some stuff on Sega Saturn was really legit. But I think the reason the PlayStation 1 was so extremely successful right out of the gate was its RPGs. It was really kind of considered an RPG machine. So much stuff like Final Fantasy and Brave Fencer Musashi, or stuff like Mega Man X4. These games all managed to be groundbreaking and different and sort of managed to pull in more attention and get more people to pick it up. Following this is another console that really shook things up and was a bombshell when it released, which is the Nintendo Wii, which sold 102 million units. I feel like a lot of people now forget that that thing actually probably could have sold a ton more right out of the gate, but it had a major scarcity problem. Everybody seemed to just be clawing their eyes out to try and get a Nintendo Wii, but for the first year and a half, they were nowhere to be found. I had a friend who was actually a manager at the GameSpot at the time, and she used to tell me that people would walk in, start staring at this wall of games for the Nintendo Wii, and then walk up to the counter, and 10 out of 10 times, they'd be like, "Hey, you got a Wii?" And they had to say no, because every shipment they got in would instantly evaporate. Now, I think that the Nintendo Wii really started to try and sell itself as fast as it did because it tried to be so unique. It was some of the first truly immersive gameplay that had motion controls to it. And while I don't really like motion controls, I will admit that that is definitely why the Wii sold so much. Now we're coming into the ones that I think are the most interesting because they're neck and neck, which is the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. Yes, that's right. Right now, these are neck and neck. The PlayStation 3 is thought to be at about 85 million units sold. Now, that's already getting pretty close to the PlayStation 4, which is at 84 million units sold. So what does this mean? Well, there's a lot of different ways to interpret the data, but if I had to have my own big guess, knowing what I know about the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3, I fully believe that the reason the PS4 has been dominating this console generation and why it just continues to move so many units is the fact that I think that Sony is really trying to sell it as the all-in-one gaming machine, and something that is finally very approachable to casual or die-hard gamers. Now, I know a lot of people hate the term casual gamer, but this is a very vital part of the market. People who only play Madden, FIFA, and Call of Duty are people who actually spend hundreds of millions of dollars every year. This is a chunk that you need to cater to in some aspect. And I think that Sony, while not being vocal about it, has very smartly been catering to that demographic. Notice the fact that if you're trying to do something like the Call of Duty beta, or you want some exclusive map packs in Battlefield, you're going to see those first and foremost on the PS4. They've even signed deals to do stuff like having exclusive raids in Destiny only on Sony's hardware. And the reason they're doing this isn't to try and exclude necessarily Xbox gamers or PC gamers or the people who love the Nintendo Switch. It is an effort to try and garner a more diehard set of a casual set of gamers. Now, I think that this strategy is definitely working for them because as I look at the numbers, they just keep selling faster and faster. So right now, the PlayStation 4 is at 84 million units, but what's really kind of nuts is they have sold 10 million units this year. Since 2018 has started, they have sold 10 million units. Now, why is that so shocking? Because it's only August, which means that they are selling about 1.2 million consoles every single month. That is hundreds of thousands of units every single week. It's hard to even overstate the fact that this is such staggeringly giant numbers. And it's because I think that Sony is really trying to diversify their content in a way that's never been seen before on any other console. If you want a really serious, dark, drab game like, something off the top of my head, God of War, which is gory and awesome and has such good writing in it, but also tells the story of a father trying to figure out how to deal with the problems of his son, well, you're only going to see that on PlayStation. But at the same time, if you're wanting a giant online experience like Final Fantasy XIV, this is still the only console you can find that at home. Now, I find all this so intriguing because I think that Sony is kind of just stumbled into this. Not to try and insult their developers or the people who are trying to be their content strategy people, but it seems like so much of this is a happy accident. I think at the beginning, they definitely strategized themselves as making all their marketing be gamers first. We're going to throw out the coolest games and give you the best stuff we can on PlayStation Plus and make sure that our exclusives are very unique. And it just keeps seeming to cash in for them again and again. I mean, looking at the hype around Spider-Man on PlayStation 4, I feel like that is such a lightning in a bottle moment. If you tried to sell a Spider-Man game a couple years ago, like they did with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, you would expect that that would take off, but it didn't. Whereas this one is. It's not just that the game looks spectacular and seems like it's going to be super, super fun, but now it's being captured in the PlayStation 4 ecosystem. This is a fan base that is very much hardcore gamers and casual gamers coming together. So that makes it where the online games are active longer, the sales are higher, and people are more willing to try and put out cool giant DLC down the road because they know that the fan base to it is so massive, you're certainly going to scoop stuff up. It's hard to say whether or not this is intentional, but I do think that we're going to keep seeing the PlayStation 4 sell better and better until the PlayStation 5 is officially revealed. I do fully believe that we're going to see it hit a deadlock at that point. It's not going to stop the sales completely, but I don't think that it's going to be able to fully replicate the unbound success of the PlayStation 2. Instead, I think that there is going to be a little bit of a cap. Once we see the PlayStation 5 announced, I think that we're going to see a bunch of PlayStation 4s being put on sale, but at the end of the day, it's going to stop selling around 125 million units. So it will still be the second best selling console ever, but it's hard to see if they'll ever be able to top that. It's really kind of silly to think that we are in this age now where everybody is basically a gamer. You and I play tons of them. There's all sorts of giant things coming out that we never could have even dreamed of. But on top of that, just a bit ago, we were seeing tons of articles talk about the fact that console sales were dipping. In the Wii U era, people were actually afraid of the fact that it looked like consoles, as we know and love them now, were going the way of the dinosaurs. And at the time, that seemed to be the trend. Things were just getting worse and worse, and it was such a bleak outlook. And now we're in a time where everybody is just on street corners throwing out consoles as fast as they can be produced. Nintendo Switches are just exploding. The Xbox One is actually getting some big cool exclusives, I hear. Maybe I keep hearing that they exist. And the PS4 is just getting so much neat stuff that I keep being hyped. Right now, I'll be honest, I am working on like 4 massive reviews on the PlayStation 4, and they're all games that I just cannot even believe are even real. What a freaking time to be a gamer. But what are your thoughts on this? What do you think the PlayStation 4's cap is going to be? When is it going to just finally stop selling? And do you think that it could be dethroned next generation? Do you think it's possible that the Nintendo Switch is going to slowly outpace it and dominate in the PlayStation 5 era? Or do you think that the Xbox 2, when it's announced early next year, just instantly drops all of these like a bomb? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And excuse me if I sound so hyped, but I've just been playing so many incredible games lately. I wanted to just do a hyped rant about everything on the business side of gaming and kind of go into my thoughts. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Alright, time to play more Dark Souls and get my butt kicked. See this giant rat? He has just been waiting there to eat me, and I'm not going to let him. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.